think it's important to understand why severing this relationship or breaking it is a huge part of how we change the direction that this country can go in. Credit to our good friends over at Eisenhower Media for highlighting this on Instagram. That was brought to my attention. Trump calls for peace while approving $510 million in additional bombs for Israel, 600 plus Palestinians killed at aid sites. So they're shooting up aid sites. Another little caveat, which is not getting talked about enough, which is also probably putting MAGA loyalists in a real bind, is the fact that at this meeting that Trump had with Netanyahu, he also approved of additional weaponry to Ukraine. So much for ending that war that I totally am going to end on my first day in office, first day.
And this is where I have to even say, I did think he would be better about handling Ukraine. And it did seem that way at first, but clearly not. Clearly that was just bullshit too. So, you know, well, and it's not, and again, I don't think we'd be in any different situation had it gone the other way. It just wouldn't have even had the facade of trying to help the situation.
Not at all.
Right.
Colin, next slide, please. U.S. approves a $510 million arms deal for Israel. Now, again, the signs are great. And that is a nice sign, I will say. But it's going to take more than signs to get this to stop. Next one. U.S. bankrolls free housing and health care for nearly 1 million Israeli settlers, including that big doofus that was like, hey, if I don't steal this house, somebody else is going to steal it.
And I just want people to understand, especially like MAGA people who I know that with that more America first mentality and the concept about how much money and resources we're sending to Israel, these people, these settlers, they don't work. They don't work. They get free house and they get land, they get a house, and they get taken care of, and they don't even have to work.
No. Why should they?
They don't.
If they get to
they don't work. They don't work. They spend their days harassing people.
Hey, how come they're not called freeloaders? How come they're not called?
There is no bigger freeloader in our entire country right now than the state of Israel.
Well, we tell you all the time, that we could easily have single-payer healthcare in the United States. And this is where we are infinitely more hypercritical against the Democrats than the Republicans. Because again, it's two sides of the same coin. But one side pretends like they care about working people. We all know they don't. A single-payer healthcare system in this country, compared to what we have now, just on the surface alone, would remove the for-profit middlemen in between us and our doctors and save $500 billion a year in health costs while covering everybody's basic needs. The only reason we don't have it is because of shit like this, because we live in a country where corporate special interests own our government. And let's be honest, guys, I've been to DC quite a few times over the past few years. There is not enough people walking the streets in DC making these scum suckers miserable. You should be on K Street. You should be in front of the White House. You should be in front of the Capitol. It's public land. You have, and let me tell you something.
For now.
If there's one thing that Washington, D.C. has plenty of, it's tent encampments. They're all over the city. There are plenty of places where people can just put a tent up right in the middle of a town square. You want to take over the nation's capital? It's right there for you to do it. I mean, you should just be doing that.
They're getting harassed. More and more people are getting harassed. I mean, we're seeing it.
I actually haven't been there in a little while. I probably should go back soon and just kind of see what's really going on. If the attitudes are changing, if there's more people that are there, if it's becoming more difficult. We remember we used to cover the stories about how the politicians were stepping over the homeless people to get to work every day.
Of course.
My God. Next one, Colin. So U.S. bankrolls free housing and healthcare for nearly 1 million.
That's what I mean.
Meanwhile, 17 million U.S. citizens will lose basic healthcare.
I just, I hate this way of presenting this information. The problem with presenting the information this way is it really is not properly addressing real how it really works, right? So you're setting it up like it's a pie just by doing that. So they're making it be like, because we give resources to Israel, we don't have those things. No, that's not why we don't have those things. Both of those things are completely unrelated. It's not a pie. And here's another thing. I wouldn't mind helping other countries and people in other countries have healthcare and housing. That in and of itself is not a problem to me. I don't begrudge helping other people with housing and healthcare. I begrudge affiliating with a criminal genocidal enterprise in any way, shape, or form. And the fact that our people don't get housing and healthcare. But I don't have a problem in general with the idea. So I don't like that they're creating this sort of like it's an either or. Because that's another thing that, yes, I support us propping up this idea that we should not be supporting Israel at all. That's true. But that is completely unrelated as to why we don't have healthcare and housing in our country. It's not a pie. That's not how it works. That's what I want.
That's austerity politics for you. Next one, Colin. Congress moves to arm Israel with bunker buster bombs for Iran's strike. So it looks like they're going back for more with Iran.
I knew that. I knew that wasn't over. I knew they're going back for a sec. However, my understanding is that even those won't be able to deal with the situation.
The U.S. has never shared these bombs or the aircraft needed to drop them with any country. The transfer would enable Israel to strike Iran's underground nuclear sites. Trump-Netanyahu promote plan to forcibly remove Palestinians from Gaza. Still don't think it's a genocide? Still don't think it's apartheid?
Are these just like tweets for the week? Like, are you just sharing Eisenhower Media Network's?
It's a conglomerate that they put together, basically highlighting the meeting between Trump and Netanyahu. Look at how, slow down, Colin. Look at how he looks at him. I wonder what he is thinking.
He's not. He's thinking, I wonder how my hair looks.
Does it look as good as Bibi's?
That's what he's thinking. He's looking to see if he looks like he's had the Turkish hair plugs or not. Trump, yeah, I mean, they're having concentration camps. We're rounding up the remainder of the people and putting them into concentration camps.
I mean, at what point does enough people say that this can't be tolerated anymore?
Well, at this point, I've given up hope on that. Because if it hasn't happened now, it's not going to. Like, clearly, this is just where we are right now as a civilization in terms of the acceptable level of violence. And as I've always said, it's determined by the oppressor, the acceptable level of violence. And now when I see people saying violence isn't the answer, oh, I agree. That's not, but the violence being committed on us every single day by things like denying us healthcare and housing and living wages and denying people actual freedom. Because when you're in debt for your life all the time just to live, that's not free. That's not free. And that's just like wage slavery. So people that aren't free are going to resist by any means necessary. So again, the level of violence is determined by the oppressor. So when you're forcibly removing people from their place, that's violence, right? When you're denying people healthcare, that's also violence. It's violence. And violence begets violence. So, I mean, again, to me, it's inevitable. It's inevitable.
I agree. Next one, Colin. Netanyahu nominates Trump for Nobel Peace Prize at White House meeting. Hitler urged for Nobel Peace Prize in 1938. Did Hitler get the Nobel Peace Prize, Jen? I know he was Time's.
I actually don't know.
I don't think
I don't.
so.
I
I know
don't.
he was. I know he was Time Magazine's Man of the Year in like 1936. I want to say, and I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that the Olympics were held in Munich. I think that was the reason. I could be wrong, but I believe that was the case. But yeah, it's so telling. Like,
oh, and by the way, I am not a fan of violence. I don't think that's the solution. I think it's inevitable.
oh, I agree.
People in the chat are confusing that I think we can sort of like Mangione our way out of this. I am a big fan of natural and logical consequences of behavior. And I'm just calling it like I see it and how it has traditionally happened like throughout human history. So no, I'm not. Look, I promoted the easy way. I was the Bernie supporter in 2015. That was the compromise. And when people got behind Hillary, I realized that, okay, I guess we're going to have to do this the hard way. And that's where we are. That's where we are. So there was the option to do this the easy way, the electoral politics way. But we've been shown that that is so compromised that doesn't really work. Again, when you make all forms of nonviolent resistance impossible, you are going to make violence inevitable. It's not how I wanted it. I don't want it this way. I wanted the compromise. I wanted Bernie.
Same.
Right. So I don't want violence. Don't think that that's what I promote. I just, again, it's being determined by the oppressor.
And let me assure you guys, as we are very, you see, it's almost like, as cheesy as it is for me to put it this way, but when you watch our podcast, we're very much like a great album, like a great rock album. There's a story that's being told, and it's all connected in one fell swoop. When we talked about Sean Maguire going after Zoran Mamdani, Sean Maguire is the type of person who did not want to see this country get somebody like Bernie Sanders to run it, who may have given them universal health care and one of the major capitalist doors shut off from profit and exploitation. A guy like Sean Maguire wants to exploit every nook and cranny possible within a system that is either thriving or dying, or in some cases, both. Now, whether he knows the system's falling apart is neither here nor there, but he is the type of person who does not want to see a thriving nation. He wants a nation of serfs that they can rule over. That's it.
That's what they all want. Are you kidding me? That's the whole empire. That's the whole project. And any country that dares to not get with that concept gets cooed. That's the MO.
Next one, Colin. U.S. mercenaries killed 550 starving Palestinians in Gaza, former EU chief.
Okay, so that's basing this on, this is that same number that we saw in the other one about, this is basically just in the past week at aid centers, or since the aid centers that are not aid centers that we know are not aid centers, since those started functioning, that's the number just based on aid centers. And there's only a couple of them. There's only a couple of these aid centers. So that means that they're just really standing there and just open firing.
Bingo. Next one, Colin. Nazi-occupied Poland, Israel-occupied Palestine. There is no difference.
No.
There really isn't. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Perhaps a century later, but it's the same story. I think there's one more, Colin. EU says no reports of Hamas stealing aid, describes GHF as tool of conflict.
Yeah.
Every accusation is a confession. Since day one, I can
speak from personal experience, and this is why it's very frustrating to me. Like, I know that everything about Israel, everything about it, is a lie. Everything about them, their history, their lore, their culture, everything about them is a lie. So why would anybody believe anything that comes out of a country that is its existence is a lie, right? Like, why would you believe anything they say? So it's just interesting to me that anybody ever would take seriously any claim that they make about anything, Hamas or otherwise.
Amen.
Hamas, Iran, anything. Everything they say is a lie because they are a complete lie.
Yeah, Israel is a complete lie.
Uh-huh.
Colin, any more? Educators Union rejects Anti-Defamation League. Well, took them long enough.
It doesn't, whatever. That's not that exciting to me.
Nah. Israeli loyalty oath is mandatory and a law now for most U.S. citizens. It seems that way. And now that they have to do it this way because they know that they are losing the narrative, it will become that much more dangerous and volatile to speak out, which is why, like we said, we do take a risk every time we go live because there is a chance that they're going to suppress our channel or maybe shut it down. You never know. Any more? It looks like it got frozen. Oh, there we go. Iranian president, and I believe this is from a statement he made when he was speaking with Tucker Carlson. We were at the negotiating table, engaged in talks, and the president of the United States had invited us in the name of peace. In that meeting, we were told that as long as we didn't give permission, Israel would not attack. But on the eve of the 6th round of talks, while we were still negotiating, they practically dropped a bomb on the negotiating table and destroyed diplomacy.
So again, I would wonder, why would any country
trust us?
Sign an agreement? Like, we've never honored a single agreement, treaty, pact that we've ever been a party to. We have no honor whatsoever. Why would any of these countries ever honor any agreement with us or one of our tools? I'm serious. Why would anybody take us seriously? We don't ever honor our agreements. We are rules-based order. That is what we're watching right now crumbling apart, is the rule-based order, because the rest of the world and those of us who, think that people deserve a life of dignity and justice, we don't like this. So the law-based people are starting to rear up, and that's what we're seeing happening. But this rules-based shit where it's like we don't have any laws that we follow, we create the rules, we are the rules. The rest of the world's not with us anymore on that.
Agreed.
They're done with our shit.
Any more, Colin?
Are you going to talk about the Trump making the comment to the president of Liberia?
I did not see that one, but let's just finish this out.
Okay, because
there is only humanity, and if we don't come to understand that right soon, there will be no nations because there will be no humanity. Well, I think we're pretty much there.
We're
places.
We're there.
Anything else?
I think that, yeah.
Wanted for crimes against humanity. And Trump is threatening he's threatening Israel. He's threatening everybody. Drop the charges against, again, this is why Trump is compromised. Whatever they feel that they need to hold over him, they're holding. Could it be Jeffrey Epstein? That's a good question. Maybe that's what it is.